is Elisa Christensen, and I'm an author that writes books on addiction and on how to not only conquer our addictions, but live an addiction-free, peaceful, happy, joyful life. And I just want to get right out of the gate that I am not a doctor, nor am I an addiction specialist or a therapist. What I am is someone who was dependent on and addicted to doctor prescribed opiates for 30 years, the last 11 on constant fentanyl. Ouch. Anyway, it was rough. I ended up on all those opiates because as a kid I fell off a skateboard and started a hairline fracture in my lower back that required major surgeries and yada yada. It was a big pain. Anyway, literally. What was even harder than getting through the back surgeries was finally getting off the doctor prescribed opiates that I was on for 30 years. It was just brutal. And I did it cold turkey by myself, and I would not recommend doing it that way, by the way. Get medical treatment. But what I learned from it was really astounding, and that's what I've written books on. My first book is titled The Fentanyl Warrior, How I Got Off and Stayed Off Opiates. My second book is titled The Teen Warrior, How to Raise Addiction-Resistant Kids. Because I'm also a mom of 2 teenage boys, so that's cool. But today I want to just tell you a little bit about what I learned because I've done a tremendous amount of research, a lot of interviews, and then just living through being addicted to opiates and dependent on them for 30 years. I've learned a lot about it. One thing I've learned is that there are really 3 root causes to addiction. There's the physical addiction, which can be a form of treating an actual physical pain. And it's also what causes, us to have pain when we withdraw or when we go cold turkey. So there's that physical element to it, which is very, very powerful. The second root cause, I believe, of addiction is the emotional component. And I do truly believe that there's so much in all of our lives that is unhealed emotional pain, whether it be from our childhood, like early childhood, from a detachment disorder, or later on by being violated or being neglected or being mistreated, or having some kind of traumatic event happen in our lives that we just didn't, no one in our lives had the capacity to help us work through, or even something that's happened in our adult lives that we just did not have the time or the ability to properly process through, and it just leaves this festering pain in our lives. Sometimes it's very conscious. We're very aware of it. Sometimes it's subconscious. We don't know why we have angst and anxiety and depression and pain. All we know is that we need to numb out to it. And so we usually get addicted to something, whether that be alcohol, drugs, or a behavior like gambling, in order to get our brains to release endorphins to help us numb out to a pain that we're not dealing with. So that's the emotional. And then the third root cause of addiction, I believe, is spiritual. And that stems from us not having a purpose in life, not having true connection with others, and feeling interconnected to other human beings, as well as not feeling like we really have a purpose here, like we're just spinning our wheels, and there's just not a lot of rhyme or reason to the human condition. That in itself can cause tremendous spiritual and emotional pain that we will have the urge to numb out to, and we will figure out a way to do it, trust me. So anyway, I think we really need to get to the root causes, the 3 root causes: physical, emotional, and spiritual, in order for us to truly be able to live an addiction-free life. And I think it's also important to really classify what addiction is. It is certainly not a character flaw, and it's just astounding to me at how much we're just still in kindergarten when it comes to understanding addiction. It truly is a disorder, a brain and an emotional disorder that is combined with a physical element, of course, the actual addiction to the substance or behavior itself. But it's not a character flaw. I have met fabulous people, intelligent, brilliant, creative, sensitive, purposeful, peaceful, wonderful, from every single type of walk of life, every socioeconomic background, everything. Addiction does not discriminate. It can snatch any of us at any time. So I think it's really important that we, give ourselves that understanding. In fact, I would venture to say that it's the really creative, sensitive types that are more at risk of addiction because they need a buffer between them and life. And so they find a way to kind of numb out to the pain of life because it's too emotional for them. They feel it too deeply. So there's that aspect of it. But I think the key to conquering our addictions, to whatever they may be, is taking 100% responsibility. And the reason 100% responsibility, I should say, for our lives, for our behaviors. I remember when I was preparing to get sober and get off all the opiates, I realized that I was blaming everyone and everything in my life for my discontent. My ex-husband, my ex-boyfriend, my landlord, my parents, my situation, my back, breaking my back, everything. I had a million reasons why I was the victim and why life was beating me up. And it wasn't until I realized that I was the cog in that wheel and that every single one of those situations all came back to me. And I made the decision that I was not going to play the victim in my life anymore, that I was going to step up to the plate, be a warrior, and take 100% responsibility for my life and for my situation. And if I knocked it out of the park, fabulous. If I fell flat on my face, I was going to take it too and take the responsibility for that too. So it was really cool. And it really changed my life. In fact, the second I made that shift in my thinking, everything began to change. And I was able to get and stay sober. So that was really, really powerful. I think it's also important to realize that we all are warriors. We just need to find out what our drive is, what our purpose in life is, why we're here. And even if we're just taking baby steps towards that every day, it can really change everything for good. So these are some of the things I'm going to be talking about in these videos. I hope you find them beneficial. I also want to say I am a huge proponent of NA and AA. I think the 12-step program is phenomenal. I personally did not go through NA when I was getting sober, but I did do the 12 steps in my own way, and I processed through it, and I think it is hugely beneficial to get a long-term sponsor and work the steps and work the program. So if you have that opportunity, please reach out. There are people out there that care for you and want to help you. Please interact with me. Make comments on my YouTube channel. Email me. Let me know. Reach out to me on Facebook and let me know what's going on and how I can help. I feel very passionate about sharing my knowledge and my experience and my joy and my encouragement with you in your journey to get and stay sober and clean. So with that, I'm going to sign off. Next time I do one of these, I'd really like to go into the root causes of addiction a little more specifically and talk about that. And then, gosh, I've got tons of great topics to talk about. And if you have something you'd like to hear from me about, leave it in the comments and I'll take a stab at it. All right? Here's to you and your safety and your health and your joy. Signing off. Thanks for joining me. Bye. I got you.